Okay, for this project I am using a REDHEART Unforgettable, which is a medium weight 100% acrylic yarn. Now you don't have to use this brand. Any type of 4-ply yarn will work. This is just a little bit on the, if you've ever used it, lighter, kind of daintier side. The color I am using is called CANDIED, and there's 270 yards per skein, and I went through about 2.5, so probably about 650 yards is what you're going to need to finish this project. And then I'm using a size H, which is a 6mm crochet hook, and I'm using, just to hold it together, a little pin. You can use a button or a shawl pin, or you don't even have to use anything, just to wrap it over your shoulders. That's just completely up to you, but that's what I got. I got this at Walmart. It was in the button aisle. Okay, this is actually a pretty easy shawl once you get started. So what you want to do is, it should be pretty lightweight, and you could probably wear it on a nice cool summer day or summer night. You want to start off with the chain of 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now what we're going to do is come down and we're going to double crochet right here into the very first stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and yarn over and go all the way to that first stitch and double crochet. Just like that. And now what we're going to do is do a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that chain of 6 counts as a double crochet plus a chain 3. And then we're going to turn our work. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put a shell. A shell in this pattern is 5 double crochets in the same stitch. And we're going to put that in the second chain from over here. So you look and you count. There's the first one and the second one. We're going to go into the chain and work the shell, and try to grab both loops if you can, 2 of the loops. That way the gap isn't so big. You don't want to go all the way around through the chain, because then it just doesn't look right. You want to try to keep it in the stitch. So you put 5 double crochets through that second stitch there. Two, 3, 4, and 5. And now what we're going to do is chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to double crochet. We're going to skip 1 stitch, 1 chain here, this chain right here, and we're going to double crochet in this one. So it's actually the 3rd one up right here. We're just going to double crochet. Try to get both loops into it. Just like that. I know it starts out a little bit iffy, but it'll get real easy. So what you had there is in the middle, if you look, I'll hold it up to maybe make it a little bit easier to understand. There's actually a chain 3 in the middle. 1 chain there that we skipped, and then that chain right there that we skipped. The one in the middle is where we put the shell. And that's where we're always going to put the shell, is in the middle of our chain 3s. And on the end, we're going to chain 6. We always start with a chain 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which counts as a double crochet and a chain 3. So now we're going to turn our work. Now right here in the middle of this chain 3, you want to do your shell. So that stitch right there, the middle one, go right through it and try to get both 2 loops on your hook, and go ahead and do your 5 double crochets into it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you want to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Don't chain real tight because you're going to be going into them. And then we're going to jump over here. Now this is the end where we did the chain 6. Remember, we had the chain 3 counted as a double, and then the other chain 3 was the chain 3 that we're going to put our shell through. So what you want to do is put your shell, you skip 1 chain here and put your shell into the next stitch. So yarn over and put your 5 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to double crochet. You skip this next stitch right here and double crochet in this one, which will actually be your 3rd one up. So just like that. So it's kind of a repeat of what we're doing. It's just going to add more shells each time. Now again, we're just going to start by chaining 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and remember that's our double crochet and our chain 3. We turn our work. Now this first chain 3 here, we're going to do our shell in the middle stitch of it. So right here, just kind of yarn over and do your shell, go into the stitch and work 5 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we chain 3 kind of loosely. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll just skip this shell here, jump to the next chain space, and in the middle stitch of it we're going to do another shell. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip this shell, and now we're at the end again. So we want to do a shell. We skip 1 of the chains and do a shell into the next. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we skip 1 chain and double crochet into the next. And remember, it will always be the 3rd one here from the bottom. 1, 2, 3. If you skip 1, double crochet into it, and then we start again. And you can see it gets another shell each row. So we'll go ahead and I'll do it one more time. So it's really easy. Chain 6 on the ends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn your work. Shell into the middle of this chain 3, so that chain right there. So 5 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip this shell, to the next chain we go, and shell into the middle stitch of the next chain 3. Just 1, 2, 3, 5, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, jump over to the next chain 3 spot, shell into the middle stitch of the chain 3, go right into the stitch, trying to get both loops of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 3, and now we're at this chain 6, so we just skip the first chain and shell into the next chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 1 chain and double crochet into the next. I'm sorry, chain 3 after that one. 1, 2, 3. I about messed up. Make sure you chain 3 after that last one, and then skip this 1 chain and double crochet right there into that spot. And that is it. You just keep doing that, and each time it'll just keep getting another shell on the row, just like that. And you can do this for as big as you want your shawl to be. Okay, I went ahead and did a total of 37 rows of the shells, and you can do more if you want. You'll just need probably need more yarn than what I said in the beginning. But once you get done here at your last shell, I just did my last shell, and I'm just going to chain 3 like I normally would, and then I'm going to go ahead and skip that next stitch and double crochet in the next, just like we were the whole time, like that. And then I'm going to tie that off, and now I'm going to go along the edges and clean them up with a row of single crochet. So just go ahead and tie that off. Okay, so now I'm going to go around the edging and make a nice clean single crochet edge. So I'm going to start my yarn right here at the top in this last shell stitch, at the very last shell, right at the top of it. And I'm going to start my yarn, and I'm just going to chain 1. Now I'm going to jump over to the space here, and I'm going to work 5 single crochets through the whole space. So there's 1, 2, just going right through the space, 3, get that tail out of the way, 4, and 5. Now I'm going to work 3 single crochets in each one of these spaces all the way down. So I'm just going to jump to the next space and work 3 single crochets in it. There's 1, 2, 3, and jump into the next space and work 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, the next space, 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, the next one, 1, 2, 3, the next one. I'm just going right through the space. 1, 2, 3, and the next one. And I'm going to do this all the way down until I get to the point of my shawl, just like that. And what that does, it gives it a nice clean edge there. Okay, I've made it down here to the corner, or the point to where we very first started, and I'm going to work 10 single crochets through this space. So I'm just going to go right through it and work 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get that tail out of the way. 7, 8, and you can kind of spread them out a little bit to make them nice. 9 and 10. And now what I'm going to do is work up the start working up at this side with the 3 single crochets in each one of the chain spaces here. So there's 1, 2, 3, jump to the next one, 1, 2, 3, and jump to the next one, 1, 2, 3. So just like we did on the other side. And we're going to do that until we get all the way to the top. And these, if you pull these like kind of like that, it'll kind of spread them and get them all nice and straight. You can do that at the end if you want, but that's kind of what I do to get them all nice and lined up straight. So I'm going to continue working up the other side of my shawl until I get back up here to the top. Okay, I've made it back up here to the top, to this last big chain space, and I'm going to put 5 single crochets through this chain space, kind of like we did at the beginning. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then I'm going to end with a slip stitch in the last double crochet of this shell. So go right through it, slip stitch, and tie it off, and that is it. Got a nice clean, that's a good thing about that yarn, you can break it easy, this type of yarn. Now you got a nice clean edge on it, and it looks pretty good. I think it's really pretty. I like that yarn. The color change on it is really pretty. But if you make this or anything else, I'd really love to see a picture of it. You can post a picture on my Bagoday Crochet Facebook page. I'll put a link to that below in the description box. I'm sorry my area is so small you can't really see it, but I'll put a picture at the end of it on my mannequin. You can find a link to the written pattern below. Also, don't forget to check me out on Pinterest and Twitter, Instagram. I'll put links to that all that stuff below. And until next time, have a good day.